What we saw on that field wasn't just a loss. It was a message. One of those gut punch performances that doesn't just affect the standings. It messes with your mindset as a fan. Seahawks trounced the Steelers by 31-17, and honestly, even that score doesn't capture how hopeless things felt. It wasn't just about giving up big plays or the team getting outcoached. It was about a vibe, a feeling that no matter what the Steelers tried to do, nothing was going to click. And that kind of energy, that sucks the hope right out of you. You can feel it slipping away week by week. And let's be real, the injuries didn't help. 2 more defensive starters down, stacking on top of the 3 that were already missing. Now add Alex Highsmith and Isaiah Loudermilk to the growing list, and suddenly the depth that everyone thought could be a strength this season has completely evaporated. You've got players coming in off the bench who don't even look ready to be on an NFL field, let alone stop an offense like Seattle's. But as much as the injuries are a problem, they're not the biggest one. The biggest problem is the fact that this team, across the board, offense, defense, special teams, just played terrible football. You could try to spread the blame around if you want. And believe me, there's enough to go around. 53 players, every single positional coach, all the coordinators, and yes, even a head coach. No one walks away clean after this kind of performance. Maybe Jaylen Warren gets a pass because when they actually let him touch the ball, he looked like the only guy on the roster who was ready to fight for every yard. But that's about it. Everyone else, it was a disaster. And as much as we try to avoid pointing fingers, there are moments in a game like this where it's impossible not to. Look at the defense. You got Peyton Wilson getting trucked repeatedly, unable to stop the run, getting caught out of position, and offering zero resistance. That's not a scheme problem. That's not about miscommunication. That's just a player getting dominated. Then you've got the early drops from the receivers. Perfect throws from Aaron Rodgers that just slipped right through hands. Pat Freiermuth dropping one that should have been a touchdown. How does that even happen? No, I'm not blaming the tight ends coach for that. I'm not blaming Arthur Smith or Mike Tomlin. That's just players not doing their jobs. And then there was Caleb Johnson. Let me tell you something. There are certain mistakes you can stomach, but watching a guy ignore a live ball on special teams is just inexcusable. That's not just mental. That's a total breakdown of focus and awareness. And yet, somehow, it keeps happening. These aren't once-in-a-season mistakes. These are fundamental breakdowns that you see in every phase of the game. That tells me this isn't about bad luck. This is about preparation, or the lack of it. But what really starts to grind on you as a fan, and honestly as someone who just wants to see this team compete, is not the mistakes themselves. It's the refusal to do anything about them. The stubbornness. The unwillingness to adapt. I'm not talking about panicking. I'm talking about obvious, logical adjustments that never seem to come. You've got a guy like Jaylen Warren playing his heart out, running through tacklers, creating yardage out of nothing. And somehow Kenny Gainwell still gets more snaps. How is that even possible? That's not just a questionable decision. That's outright sabotage. And it gets worse when you start to think about next week. Because you know what's coming. You've seen this movie before. Patriots in Foxborough, a chance to make a statement, to turn things around, to show that this team can still fight. And deep down, you already know what's going to happen. Because the head coach, the guy who could change things, the one who has the power to make the calls that could actually swing a game, he's not going to do it. He's not going to change. We've seen this pattern play out over and over. Last week, all the talk was about getting pressure, about fixing the pass rush, about learning from the failure to get after Justin Fields. And what do we get? A carbon copy performance. No blitzes. No creativity. Nothing to disrupt the quarterback. Third and long. No pressure. Just sit back and wait. The exact opposite of what the entire football world saw the 49ers do to shut down the Seahawks. Why? Because dialing up pressure now would be an admission that the previous plan was wrong. And that, in Tomlin's world, just doesn't happen. That's not just stubbornness. That's ego. That's pride getting in the way of performance. That's choosing to protect your philosophy over fixing the actual problems in front of you. And while it might not seem like a huge deal in the middle of September, those decisions add up. They send a message to the locker room. They create doubt. They erode confidence. Because if you're a player who sees the same mistakes happening week after week, and you see no one doing anything about it, how are you supposed to believe things are going to change? It's not just about who's getting snaps either. It's about the entire mindset. You've got a generational talent like TJ Watt, and instead of moving him around, instead of finding ways to get him free to wreck the opposing offense, they leave him in one spot. Meanwhile, teams are just running away from him. Straight up the gut, straight to the side with no resistance. You want to talk about misuse of talent? That's it right there. You got one of the best edge rushers in the league being schemed out of the game, and the staff just shrugs. No creativity, no adjustment. Just stick to the script and hope for the best. And then you've got situations like 4th and 1 at midfield. Moments where a little bit of guts, a little bit of fire could spark the team. But instead, punt. Every time, no risk, no edge. Just play it safe and cross your fingers. That's not football. That's fear. And it's spreading. You can see it in the body language, in the tempo, in the way this team carries itself. It's not just about talent. It's about attitude. And right now, the Steelers don't have it. This is a team that's stuck, trapped in a loop. Same players making the same mistakes. Same schemes failing in the same ways. And worst of all, a coaching staff that refuses to face the reality of what's in front of them. Caleb Johnson's still going to get reps. Gainwell's still going to be prioritized over Warren. You're not going to see more blitzing. You're not going to see TJ Watt moved around to exploit weaknesses. You're not going to see Cole Holcomb back in the mix where he belongs. And why? Because they didn't do it last week. Because doing it now would be admitting they were wrong before. And that's apparently worse than losing. That's the kind of thinking that kills a season before it even gets off the ground. It's not the individual losses that break you. It's the knowledge that the people in charge won't change anything. That even when the problems are obvious, even when the solutions are right there, they'd rather stay the course than adjust. That's what drains your hope. That's what leaves fans wondering if it's even worth believing. It's that creeping realization, the kind that doesn't hit you all at once, but slowly builds, that the Steelers, as currently constructed and coached, are destined to keep walking into the same wall again and again. When you sit down and really think about what went wrong against Seattle, it's tempting to focus on the blown coverages, the missed tackles, the lack of effort on special teams, or the offense sputtering after every rare moment of momentum. But none of those things are happening in isolation. They're all symptoms of the same core issue, the team's refusal to evolve. This isn't just about execution anymore. This is about leadership. This is about philosophy. About how much longer you can watch the same things fail before you're forced to admit the plan is broken. There's a dangerous kind of loyalty that lives in this organization. Not the good kind that builds chemistry, but the kind that holds a team hostage. Loyalty to systems, to hierarchies, to players who haven't earned their roles, and to ideas that don't work anymore. That's where the Steelers are right now, and no one wants to admit it. Think about this. Jaylen Warren had one of the most electric starts to a game we've seen from a Steelers running back in years. He was slicing through the defense, making guys miss, turning broken plays into big gains. The offense finally had rhythm. But just like that, he disappeared. Not because of an injury. Not because the defense figured him out. He disappeared because the coaches took him off the field to make room for Kenny Gainwell. Again, a player who has shown little to justify the faith being put in him. A player who stops drives. And yet, he's being given opportunity after opportunity simply because someone made a decision months ago to believe in him. It's madness, pure and simple. It's not about punishing Gainwell. It's about rewarding the guy who's actually producing. But that's not how things work here. Warren has to keep proving himself every single week, even as he plays circles around his competition. Meanwhile, Gainwell gets treated like a made man. Someone whose spot is secured regardless of the outcome on the field. And that's the problem. This staff seems more interested in proving their preseason decisions right than in actually winning football games. And that goes far beyond the backfield. Look at the defensive play calling. The Seahawks were put into 3rd and long situations over and over again. That should have been the defense's chance to make a statement. Instead, they played soft. No blitzes, no pressure. They let Sam Darnold stand back there, scan the field, and pick them apart. And the worst part? It wasn't an accident. It was by design. Tomlin and Terrell Austin made a conscious choice not to be aggressive. Even after seeing how much success San Francisco had blitzing Darnold just a week earlier, they refused to follow the blueprint. Why? Because doing so would have meant admitting their own approach wasn't good enough. It's the same on the defensive line. Teams are running directly away from T.J. Watt. They know he's too dangerous, so they avoid him entirely. Fine. That's smart football. So what's the response from Pittsburgh? Nothing. No adjustment. They won't move Watt around. They won't try to force mismatches. They won't scheme up new ways to make him a problem again. He's just stuck on the edge, watching plays happen far away from him. While the coaching staff crosses their fingers and hopes someone else steps up, it's a waste. And it's not just about what. It's about what that represents. You have elite talent, and you're choosing not to unleash it. Now look, Cam Hayward deserves some credit. He was one of the few guys who actually looked like he belonged on the field. He was getting penetration, he was shedding blocks, and he played a big role in setting up that Nick Herbig interception. But the sad truth is, he's not getting any help. The rest of the defensive line isn't producing. The linebackers can't stop the run. And when your stars are left to carry everything on their own, it eventually breaks. That's where we are now. Even when the defense makes a play, there's no momentum, no fire, because everyone knows what's coming next. A 3-and-out, a busted coverage, a special teams blunder. You name it. There's always something around the corner ready to wipe out any progress. And that's what makes this all so demoralizing. It's not just about being bad. It's about being predictably bad. You know the script before the game even starts. That's how deep this goes. And yeah, fans are getting frustrated. How could they not be? But they're not stupid. They know the problem isn't just a few missed blocks or a fumble here and there. They know this team is operating under a philosophy that isn't working. A philosophy where loyalty outweighs logic. Where changing course is seen as weakness. Where sticking with the plan, no matter how flawed it is, somehow becomes a badge of honor. That's not grit. That's not discipline. That's pride getting in the way of progress. You see it in every press conference. When Tomlin says things like, "I see no reason why Jaylen Warren can't handle a bigger load." What does that even mean? You already had your answer on the field. He was dominating. He was the spark. But instead of riding the hot hand, they went back to the guy who had already failed multiple times. So if you're a player, what are you supposed to think? That performance doesn't matter? That production isn't enough? So yes, the Patriots are next. Another game. Another opportunity. But what are the odds anything will actually be different? You already know the answer. Peyton Wilson will still get torched. Caleb Johnson will still be on special teams. Cole Holcomb, if he's even healthy, will be sitting. The offense will still run through a broken system. There will be no new wrinkles, no surprises. Just the same tired game plan, executed with the same poor results. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. It's real. Absolutely real. The Pittsburgh Steelers have reportedly pulled off what could be described as the most audacious move in franchise history. Tyreek Hill, the electric wide receiver whose name strikes fear into defenses across the NFL, is reportedly set to join the Steel City. And not just join, becoming the most expensive signing in Steelers history. Sources whispering from inside Heinz Field suggest that the deal, while still technically unofficial, could redefine the team's offensive identity for years to come. Hill, known for his lightning speed, jaw-dropping agility, and game-breaking playmaking ability, has been the subject of endless speculation for months. Rumors of his potential destinations have circulated through NFL circles like wildfire, but few could have predicted that the storied Steelers, a franchise steeped in history and tradition, would be the ones to land the explosive star. According to insiders, the contract reportedly shatters all previous records in Pittsburgh, signaling that the front office is fully committed to winning now, leaving caution and budgetary concerns in the dust. Imagine the possibilities. With Hill's unmatched acceleration and ability to turn routine plays into highlight reels, the Steelers' offense could become a nightmare for any defensive coordinator. Quarterbacks now have a weapon who can stretch the field, break tackles, and ignite the crowd with every touch. Fans are buzzing, social media is ablaze, and Steelers Nation is holding its breath, torn between excitement and disbelief. Can the team seamlessly integrate such a high-octane talent into its system? That question alone is fueling debates across sports bars and living rooms alike. But if there's one thing everyone agrees on, it's that this signing is more than just a roster move. It's a statement. The Steelers are signaling to the league that they are serious, hungry, and ready to chase championships. While nothing is officially confirmed, the chatter is deafening. Tyreek Hill in black and gold could be one of the most thrilling storylines of the season. Whether this will translate into instant success or a bold gamble, only time will tell. For now, though, the rumor alone has Steelers fans dreaming bigger than ever. History may be in the making, and it's fast, furious, and electric, just like Tyreek Hill. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.